Good morning,
Good afternoon.
good night, and welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef,
And I'm Gigi.
and we're excited to be here.
Listen, thanks for checking in.
Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef,
And I'm
and
Gigi.
G, I'm excited to be back.
Yes, sir. I'm always excited. I love this.
When I left the house today,
Yeah.
that food is smelling good. You know what tomorrow is.
Oh, it's about that time.
Hey, Thanksgiving. So Shima makes a mean, just like you said, you make different things. My wife makes a mean stuffing from scratch.
Oh.
Yeah, it's something from scratch. She makes the cranberry sauce
Okay.
and the stuffing from scratch.
Yeah.
She's preparing that turkey, and she does the ham.
Oh. Y'all do a honey ham?
We do a honey ham. And here's the
Yeah.
funny part about
It's
it.
always my
We've been
favorite.
doing honey ham for, well, we've been together a very long time, 27 years. She's been cooking it for 24 years before they had the place out in Milford, Connecticut. Remember the honey ham place?
I do. I
Right.
do.
So
I think it's called Honey Ham Company.
yeah. Do you do that? Do you cook?
I do it. I do the honey ham. I'm mostly I do desserts, but
Oh, okay.
I do the honey ham, like
Okay.
because it's to me that's part of the dessert.
So you
anyway.
already
It's
started
sweet.
your desserts today for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's already. I've already got my caramel melted for my turtle cake and my chocolate turtle cake and my sweet potato pies. Everything is ready to go.
Hey, look at it this way. We're talking about food, but we're about to bring someone on that knows about food for real.
Oh yes. And if you're from around these parts or anywhere
Exactly.
around, you know about this brother.
Hey,
and
listen,
his
so if
family.
you're interested in soul food, if you come to New Haven, Connecticut, please Google Sandra's Place, Sandra's Kitchen.
Oh, Sandra's
Next-
Next Generation.
Sandra's Next Generation.
This is actually the next generation of Sandra's. That's right.
Once you Google that in New
Mm-hmm.
Haven, Connecticut, you will get some real soul food. So don't just Google it for the Italian pizza. Check out the soul food
Yes.
as well. Am I correct, G?
That's correct.
All right.
Absolutely.
So we're going to bring on Mr. Miguel Pittman within the next 5 seconds.
Yes.
I hope you guys are ready. You ready? Here we go. Welcome to Jazzy Conversations. I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
And G, I'm excited because tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And
yes.
guess if anyone knows about soul food, it would be this gentleman right here, located in New
Yes.
Haven, Connecticut. Ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, Mr. Miguel Pittman. Miguel, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Salute, much love.
Absolutely.
Much
Listen,
love.
if you're watching this show and you're calling in or watching from Los Angeles, California, Greenville, South Carolina, Philadelphia, Ohio, or Connecticut, please Google Sandra's Next Generation Soul Food Cafe. I mean, the food is exquisite, off the charts.
Off the charts. I want to know how y'all eat at Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. So, Miguel, we want to go through the process. I'm sorry. Were you saying
Sure,
something?
go ahead. No, I'm fine.
So
I'm
we want to
good.
go through the process because you and your wife together was able to build this dynasty, like in the state of Connecticut, not just in New Haven, but around. And we want to go through the process. We want to know who you are as well as your wife, and just want to find out a little about you. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
All
And I want to add this in here. We know that you're much more than just soul food. So we want to hear all about it.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
that for sure.
Oh, okay. So you know.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Great.
Right.
All right. So Miguel, listen. Let's tell us about the beginning. So where are you originally from? Where you born and raised? Where?
Well, I was born here in New Haven, which is 634 Winchester Avenue,
Oh, okay.
in Hallville.
That's
That's
right.
right.
I was born in 1963.
Okay.
My parents, they migrated from the South in 1962, get away from that sharecropping and working at tobacco field and picking that cotton. So my mom came up, she had a one-way ticket on Greyhound.
All right.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
Great Migration.
Great Migration. And that's when the factories was booming here in New Haven. You had Winchester, you had Olin's, you had Ansonia, which had multiple factories, and a lot of our folks came up to the north to live a better life.
Absolutely. Now, what part of the South? You said the South.
Enfield, North Carolina, roughly about 20 miles from Greenville,
Okay.
not too far from Beltha, North Carolina.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All
A
right.
little small town, outskirts of Rocky Mount.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
any siblings, Miguel?
Yes, I have three brothers and one sister.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it's five of us.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice size family.
And yes, and I'm the middle child. There's something about that middle child,
There's
something
something.
special
Something
about that.
special.
Claim it. That's right.
I like it. So Miguel, you said
Absolutely.
you grew up in the Ville. Now here's my question: did you go to Ivy Street School?
Yes, I did.
There you go.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
I attended Ivy Street School in the third grade.
okay.
Before that, I went to the white school.
Okay.
And I remember in third grade, I had a teacher. Her name was Miss Bagley.
Miss
And
Bagley.
yeah, Miss
I
Bagley.
do know
She
this.
was she was a very small lady, very petite. She was about 5'2", but she had a way of maintaining the class, but also showing love, but also disciplining the students when the time comes, so everybody could get focused and
Mhm.
get prepared for the future.
All right.
That's
Yes.
good. Yep.
So
So now, when you said when you said Ivy Street School, did
yes,
you attend that? You did.
my
Okay.
siblings did. I'm from the Ville as well, New Hallville, located in New Haven,
Okay.
Connecticut. We're from Reed Street, and my brother went to Ivy Street, and
Hmm.
my sister went to Lincoln Bassett, and I went to Davis. But I
Okay.
do know Miss Bagley as well as Miss Friday. So if you remember those days,
Wow.
yes,
That's
yes,
impressive. Yes.
absolutely. So
So may I ask you a question? So you remember when Mr. Dyson, he was a teacher?
oh, absolutely. Mr. Dyson lived across the street from us on Sheffield Avenue, back in the day. So whoever
Yes.
was watching this from the Ville would know where Mr. Dyson lived on Sheffield. So
Right.
yes.
So I'm
Yeah,
on the
Mr.
other side
Dyson.
of town. I'm out of this. I'm just listening.
No, no, no,
I'm
no,
you
no.
know,
We want you to,
no,
I want you to be in this. I want you to be in this conversation.
Yeah, Mr. Dyson, he's one of those male figures that made a major impact in my life. I had him as a sixth grade teacher,
Mm.
and our class was like what I would say, like, I don't know if you're into X-Men, you have the mutants.
Yeah,
You know, each of
absolutely.
those mutants, they have different powers and they have different talents. And every kid that was in that class was handpicked. We was the only class that didn't have to rotate, like go to science class,
Mm.
math class, gym. We just stayed with Mr. Dyson all day long
Mm.
in the sixth grade. And Mr. Dyson, he was very unique in terms of he wasn't like the status quo of a teacher, you know, coming to school with a tie and jacket. He would come with Jordan jeans back then. He used to wear Jordan
Oh.
jeans, and believe it or not, those jeans he used to wear was real tight.
Right.
But you know,
Well, that was the
we never
thing
told him
then. That
that.
was okay back then. Yes.
Yeah, we didn't tell him that. And he used to play Western songs.
Hmm.
Now imagine being raised in New Orleans back then, during those days, doing, you know, Marvin Gaye and the Isley Brothers, and then you have this
Country
African
Western.
belle wearing country Western songs.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I find that to be very unique because
Absolutely.
he made a major impact in terms of my future, in terms of how I perceive life,
Mhm.
but also having that male figure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because in my family, it was five of us.
Mm.
We didn't have, unfortunately, we didn't have that male figure in our home.
Yeah.
But one of the things that we did have, we had love.
Absolutely.
And
Mhm.
my mother, she shared that with us, and she kept us as a unit, and she filled those different gaps that we needed back then in that particular neighborhood. And as you know, that neighborhood wasn't like peaches and cream.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know,
Right.
it was tough, you know, but we was able to survive.
There you go.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, G, any questions
No,
before
no,
I
no.
move
Go
on?
ahead, 'cause I
Okay.
know you've got a
So,
track now.
Ivy Street. Now you graduate from Ivy Street. Where did you go next? Jackie Robinson.
No, I went to Sheridan. Doing then they was
You know
having
about
that street
Sheridan.
addition. They was building Jackie Robinson. So I was fortunate enough to go to Sheridan in the seventh grade.
So you
So
went
I
from
went
New
to
Hallville.
Sheridan.
You got on that bus, all the way
That's right.
downtown, transferred,
That's
and
right.
got either you got
You all
on
have
the
a
G
lot in
bus or the
common.
B bus because I did the same thing.
Yes, exactly. And then when I graduated from Sheridan, then I went to the #1 high school.
Watch this.
Careful,
Watch this.
careful,
But that's-
careful.
Come on now, come on
Watch
now.
this, watch
You know,
this,
River
watch this.
Cross.
Oh,
River
okay,
Cross.
okay, okay.
You
there
River
know
go.
what I'm
Cross?
saying?
Okay, there you go.
No doubt.
All right.
Cross.
Let's go, governors.
Okay, okay. Now we're good. Now we're good.
All right. I
okay.
thought you were going to
Sure,
say
sure.
something tricky over there. Okay, good.
Yes, I went to River Cross.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, great. And so Wilbur Cross, and you came out. What year did you came out? If you don't mind, if I ask, 80?
1981.
81.
Okay.
You came out with a great class. Those were
Those were some of
really
the
good friends of the
champions
show.
of the
Absolutely,
history of Wilbur
championship
Cross.
teams back in those days. Yes,
Yes.
That's right. Sure.
Mhm.
That's when
absolutely.
we had Earl Kelly. Earl Kelly was, I think he was one grade behind me or two.
He was two. He was two.
2 grades behind
Yes.
me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Earl was just like, he was like phenomenal
Yeah, we had
in
some
terms of
super athletes come
talent
out of Wilbur Cross.
that he had.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was just great. I had I would say a very unique time in high school. Um, I wasn't the top of my class. Unfortunately, I had the mindset at that point, just to do just enough to get by.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. But
And look at you
during
now.
those eras, I had my entrepreneurship, anything that really goes down within the school that has to do with money, I was a part of it.
You was a part of it.
So,
I
like,
was
what?
part of
Tell
it.
us a story
There
too.
you
What,
go.
what does that look like?
Like, for example, when we didn't go to class or in between class or resets, we have like different ways of generating money, like playing craps on the side. We play cards, we play pump, we bet on football games, anything that has to do with the dollar bills. I was a part of that.
Wow. Okay.
Made sure that I kept my grades up to par, that I didn't have to stay over after school.
Mhm.
So I just did just enough.
Just enough. Flying below the radar. Mhm.
Yes.
You know what? I know a lot of people like you, but that would be me. Gigi was one who always went to class. She was our class president at Wilbur Cross.
It is what it is.
Oh,
Yeah. Straight out of high school, went to Temple University, which
there you go.
because she's a Temple grad, they have our podcast rotating on their website
yes, they do.
with their pods. So check us out there as well.
Yeah.
We got a lot of our people from Temple. That's why we said that earlier.
I was
'cause
not
they have
playing tongue. I was in class.
Yeah, she was in class. So Miguel, okay, so now we get into it. So you graduate high school. What's your vision like? Do you go to college?
Yes, I attended Southern Connecticut State College.
All right, Owls.
Um, I did almost 2 years, and then I dropped out. And the
Okay.
reason why I dropped out is that I would say I didn't have a vision in terms of long run. The money that I was generating outside of school, I was making more money than what the teachers was making. So I'm sure you know what direction I was going.
We do.
Unfortunately, I was working on the dark side at that point. And that same entrepreneur spirit. And really that entrepreneur spirit really started in Miss Bagley class.
It started in the Ville. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, it started in the Ville. And being that my mother raised all 5 of us by herself, it was tough.
Yeah.
So as a young man, I decided, even in 3rd grade, to start my own business. And back then, my mother used to give me an allowance on Friday. My allowance was $1. Back then, that was a lot of money. To a kid, I was able to go to the store and invest. I would go buy squirrel nuts, Mary Jane's, lollipops. I would buy pencils, notebook pads, and I was the store inside our classroom.
So did you
Anything that-
real quick?
I
Did
was
you go?
a contact person.
Did you go to juniors or B and K?
I went to B&K.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I lived right next door to B&K, that
Okay.
3-family house next door. We lived on the third floor.
Okay.
So B&K was owned by a gentleman named Ben Canfield.
Yes.
Him and his family was out of Bridgeport.
Bridgeport. His son Kevin is a good friend of mine. So yes.
Yes, Kevin.
Yes.
Matter of fact, Kevin, I think he went to college in
Norfolk.
California.
Norfolk.
Norfolk.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So he came from a very good family in terms of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to direction. I apologize.
Yeah,
No,
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 no.
That
no.
was just
So
a
we're hearing
throw.
about this entrepreneurial
Yes.
spirit that started in the third grade.
Yes.
Yes.
Started in third grade, and that entrepreneur spirit really passed on to even when I went to college and I was at Gateway. I was still selling something, at that moment. But I was the type of kid where I would stack my money, you know. Um, and I was able to accumulate quite a bit, but unfortunately, I didn't know what to do with it. See, that's the sad part. That's the gap that I had in my life. I didn't have anyone to pull me to the side and say, take this money and invest in real estate. Take this money, invest in, say, a house, or take this money, invest in further in your education. And that's
Yeah.
one of the parts that I didn't have.
What else? What I'm hearing also in your story, because that's what you didn't know how to do with your money, but you also had this
Right.
entrepreneurial spirit that you didn't know what to do with. Because you said you didn't have this vision. You could, like, at that time, could have been taking those skills and really honing them toward being a legitimate businessman. And somebody should have said this, should have seen that in you and said,
Yes.
look, here's an entrepreneur, here's a business owner, right? Here's an employer, a future employer. You had all of that in you.
Yes, I did. And when I look back, I think about those moments. And the reason why I say that is I see these young folks that's out there in the streets and they doing what they have to do to survive. And a lot of times they do it because they don't see any other opportunities. They don't have anyone to pull them aside and say, okay, what you're doing now, you understand economics, you understand product, you understand customer service. You could take that talent and apply it to, say, a store. You could take that talent and say apply it to some type of production company that you could start, which at one point I did. I had a production company in 1982, and the name of my production company was Bad Boys Production.
Look at that. And this was you right out of high school. You got right.
Yeah.
You're right out of
Yeah.
high school with this. Okay.
You know who took my name, right?
Yeah.
He took your name.
He took my name. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we used to do shows where the edge of the woods is on Welly Avenue. We would have like LL Cool J when he first came out, Ron DMC. We had a lot of artists that we brought from out of New York, and we would do shows there on Welly Avenue. Back then I was like 18, 19 years old, and I was doing productions back then. So
I did
had
not
a
know
very
that.
active life. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Very
that is
active
it.
life. Sure.
So Miguel, I want to ask this question, and I want you to stay where you are.
Sure.
So I'm believing, and I'm not sure if I'm right, but you said you didn't know what direction to go into. You didn't have anyone to mentor you to do with your money. For some reason, I'm believing somewhere along the line, that's when you met your wife, and she was able to say, "Baby, this is what we need to do with our money." Is that the story? Is the story going that way? Because usually it's a strong woman to say, "This is
Sure.
what we need to do."
Sure.
Because I know.
I graduated in 1981.
Okay,
I met Sandra in 1982.
there it is.
Back then, I had a yellow Audi four-door. It was already paid. And I was going down Welly Avenue. And I had just went past Burger King's. Next door to Burger King's, there used to be a place called Chico's and Frank, which is on the corner of Orchard and Welly Avenue.
Yes.
Listen, when I drove by, that red bone just caught my eye. I went by her.
Love that.
I did a U-turn.
Uh-huh.
I turned
In
around.
that yellow, no.
I had that Audi and I spent around. She saw me spinning around.
Oh my goodness.
She had a girlfriend of hers come to find out. Felicia had said to her, "Ooh, that's Miguel." So Felicia thought I was coming for her.
Mm,
I was coming for Sandra.
I was coming for Sandra.
I got out the car and I introduced myself. And she was kind of shy. Um, and we just hit it off. I mean, I would say that was the time of my life where I felt like I had direction. I felt like I had an opportunity because she was more or less totally different from where I came from.
Yeah.
She came from a middle class family, mother and father, family of five. They was entrepreneurs also. Um, and it was just like one of those, she came from like the Cosby family. You know, I'm a kid just coming straight from the hood, no father, mother, you know, um, trying to keep the family together, um, dealing with, I witnessed my mother dealing with depression.
Hmm.
You know, I witnessed my mother, you know, being abused, and I wasn't at that moment big enough or strong enough to protect her. So I seen those points in my mother life that really motivated me in the sense that, I got to be able to generate enough money not only to take care of myself, but also to relieve the pressure off my
Yeah.
mom.
All
Wow.
right. All
Yes,
right.
Wow.
yeah, she inspires me, and also to Sandra the same way.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
mean, it wouldn't be no Sandra's next generation without Sandra.
That
So
sounds right.
we're gonna pick up right there. So you meet Sandra and the vision in regards to creating this. Is there anything in between, or you go straight to after being together for a few years? How does this Sandra's next generation come about?
Sure. Well, when I met Sandra, um, she had a part-time job. Um, she used to work at Pizza Hut, and that was out in West Haven. And back then,
Oh
like I
yeah.
say,
Oh,
I'm running the
Gee.
streets, and I'm hustling, every day, and going to different crap games and just living off the streets. And sometimes it's situations where I didn't win. I wasn't able to
Walk
win
away
at
with
that
that
moment.
bag.
Yes, and she would like, okay, this is how much money I made in tips. Take this money and I want you to go out and just work it. So she would give me her last for me to go out and then go back out and hustle and try to make money. So her and I, we've been hustling a long time together.
Wow.
I love it. I
Wow.
love it.
So when did it become about Sandra's, like the thing that people know and enjoy so much? When did that get birthed?
Sure.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, Saunders started in 1989.
Okay.
Back then, I had already went from transition from in the streets to accumulating a lot of money. And then from there, I had to do some time. I had to go to prison for a while, 7 years suspended after three. And during that transition, I really had an opportunity to sit back and say, okay, Miguel, you better than this, you know. So when it's time for you to leave outside of these doors, you have to take your talent and skills and go another direction,
All right.
That's
which I
right.
did. So when I got out of prison, even though I still had the cars that I had, I still had my money, but I didn't, what you say, really have a complete vision. And I never held a job before. I'm just coming out of prison in 1985 and never had a job, never had to fill out an application.
Wow.
Didn't really know how that works because I always been my own boss. So I said to myself, well, the only skill and the talent that I have is sales.
Hmm.
That's my background. So I fill out an application at Crazy Eddie.
Oh,
Crazy
remember Crazy
Those
Eddie.
Eddie's?
TVs and
Oh,
VCRs,
Yeah.
you
you
know.
dated all of us just now.
Yes.
I said, okay, I could go in there. I could sell these TVs, I
Wow.
could sell all these extended warranties and things like that and radio. So I decided to go to Crazy Eddie and fill out an application. And when I pulled up at Crazy Eddie, I pulled up, I had a 1986 BMW.
Mhm.
It was a 538. And I pulled up. And I was dressed for the occasion. I knew that, okay, if you want a job, you got to dress accordingly. I had my suits on, my shoes were shining. So I went in and I filled out the application. And after I completed the application, I said, okay, I'd like to speak to the manager. So the person said, well, right now the manager is not available. I said, okay, that's fine. I just have a seat and I just wait for the manager to come out. I think I sat there for probably about 7 hours. And the lady just kept looking at me and I just kept looking at her. So finally, the manager came out and I seen that he came over to her and he whispered something and they both looked at me. Then finally he came over and he introduced himself and I said, I'm here for opportunity. I said, you give me the product, give me the manual, I could just sell anything. And the guy hired me. It just happened just like that.
Tenacity.
So So with Crazy Eddie, I worked there 6 months and then I stepped my game up. I went to car sales. I was selling BMWs, Volvos, Mazdas.
Wow.
And then at that point, I was married to my wife and she was a stay-home mom.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was just bringing in the money. And her side hustle was selling dinners. That's what she would do just to generate extra incomes.
Mhm.
And she had a couple accounts with Bear Pharmaceuticals when it was around,
Yeah.
Sargent, Pratt Whitney.
Mhm.
And then the business just started exploding. And I said, you know what, Sandra, it's best for you to, open up a restaurant. And
Mhm.
that's when we opened up Sandra's in 1989.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Now, how did that look in the beginning? I mean, going into this, no
Was it
blueprint.
hard? Yeah, as they say,
Yes.
opening a restaurant, there's so much loss at the beginning of that endeavor. Did you all know that? Or like, how were you prepared to go into a restaurant business?
Okay, I want you to visualize this. You're familiar with Congress Avenue.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I'm not talking about the Congress Avenue that's in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Congress Avenue in
1989.
Yes, we know.
Mm-hmm.
1989. That's when Congress Avenue was the type of place where you could go on Congress Avenue and do your Christmas shopping. You place your order and they go downtown and get it and they come back.
Uh,
Anything that you
Mm-hmm.
want,
Y'all
you could
understand what that
buy
means out there in the
on
world?
Congress
Wink,
Avenue.
wink. Come on now.
So our restaurant was like in the middle of the lion's den. And being who I was and my background and who Sandra was and her family, our business had like a force field around it.
Mm.
What goes on the outskirts doesn't penetrate in terms of our space.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that's in the neighborhood that is doing things that they're not supposed to do,
Had a respect for that.
they
Mm-hmm.
don't do it within our space. They
Yeah.
don't interfere with our customers. They treat everybody with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked that space from 1989 to 1992, which we moved to the location where we are now at 636 Congress Avenue.
wow.
But it was tough.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from the fast life and having the type of business where you generating 5, 10, 15, $20,000 a week, going to an environment where you're only making $600 or $700 a day. That's just like it's a huge shift. It's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that at the end of the day, I didn't care how long it takes for me to accomplish what I was going to accomplish. I knew for a fact that I was going to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
That with the help of Sandra and myself and the talent that I have, we was going to build the business. And as you see, right now, we're very successful
Still
in
going
terms.
strong. So we have to
34
applaud
years.
that. That is an
Yeah.
incredible accomplishment. Now I want to jump to something if you don't mind, because you're so humble that I imagine you're not even going to mention what you do for some of the folks in the reentry community, because I know you shared that little piece of your story, but I know that as an employer you have been instrumental in some people's life because of the position that you hold with the company. Do you want to talk anything about that? I know that you've offered opportunities to people. You want to talk about that?
Well, my passion is really my community
Mm-hmm.
because I understand the different struggles. I've been there. I've been all the way at the bottom. I'm so-called at the middle of the top. So I can relate to those folks. I have a heart for those folks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a heart for people needing a second chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I came out of prison, even though financially I was okay, but I still need a second chance. It's almost like a restart. And even when I was in prison, I would visualize that one day that I would be leaving these walls and my record that I carried with me when I went to prison would be erased.
Mm.
And I had that vision way back in 1985. And back then, for you to even think about getting a pardon, you would have to know somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
held on to that. And I was fortunate enough to get a pardon in the year 2001.
All right.
I
All
Mm-hmm.
went before
right.
that
Mm-hmm.
committee, and my record was completely expunged.
Mm-hmm.
So
Beautiful thing.
when you talk about giving people second chances, we give people second chances all the time at our restaurant with all the employees that we have. We have over, 20 employees, and I would say probably 90% of them, they needed a second chance.
Yeah.
Now,
I
when you give
yeah.
somebody a second chance, it's a lot entail with it because, you have to groom them, you have to mold them, you have to constantly work with them. But at the end of the day, if you're able to save one, two, or three, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
think that is something that is needed more when it comes down to corporate Americas, setting up some type of mechanism where you could give somebody a second chance. And a lot of people need that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't get through this episode without talking about that added value that you have to this community, because that is tremendous. And clearly, like, that's a heart
I love it. I
issue.
love it.
You got to have the heart for that. And you're the guy. So,
Miguel Pittman,
yeah.
this has been an amazing interview.
Oh,
We want
man.
to thank you for coming on. Is there anything you got going on now that you want to tell us?
Where can the people come and find your food?
Yes.
What's on the menu? What's good? Come
Are you
on.
writing a book? What's going on? What do you got going on?
But it's just amazing how this time. I'm looking at the time we've been on now for 26 minutes, and it seemed like we just got started.
I
And
know.
it's a lot more uh, to my story, just like Mr. Joyner. It's a lot more to Mr. Joyner that you guys was able to interview. I mean, I didn't even get a chance to even speak about the impact that Mr. Joyner made in my life in terms of a father figure, you know.
Mm.
Um, but getting back to Sandra's Next Generation, our location is 636 Congress Avenue. You could go to our website, which is
Mm-hmm.
sandrasnextgeneration.com.
All
Fairly
right.
simple. Or you can just Google Sandra's Soul Food. we're at the top of the food chain.
I love it. I love
Yeah, I
it.
like that. Top of the food chain.
Absolutely.
Listen. Just whet the people's appetite. For people that they're not from around here, but they might pass through. What can they get at Sandra's? Just give
Go
them
ahead,
just
G.
give them
Go
a
ahead,
sample.
G.
What can they get?
You know, before I came here, I had like 15 minutes to make it, and I had to go back to the restaurant. And what I did, I went inside and I cut the line. I got the 12-ounce cup, and I went behind the counter. I added a little bit of corn, macaroni cheese,
Uh-huh.
2 pieces of yams,
Say some
2 pieces of oxtails, and I add Caribbean rice to it.
Say now
And I
what?
put a lid on. Let me tell you, when I was eating that food, I just got so excited. It was just like I went into a candy store. I was just excited, excited
Yes.
about the quality of the food and the way the food tastes. So our
That's
food is
right.
definitely made with love. Again, it all goes back to Sandra. She is the creation of the recipe. I'm just the guy that's at the back of the scenes, just counting the money and doing the management part. But we put it together and we work together as a team.
Yes, it's
Miguel,
beautiful.
on behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Miguel, have a great night.
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
Much love. I appreciate
Take
you.
care. Have a great night.
You too. Thank you.
That was amazing. That was amazing.
Oh,
Gee, he's smooth.
It's
He is
not
smooth.
even. It's not even. Again, like he said, there's so much more to the story.
And
I
you
mean,
know a little bit more.
I know just a little
Okay.
bit. He and I worked together for some initiatives in New Haven about entrepreneurship a few years back. That's how he and I got to know each other a little bit, and I heard a little bit of his story.
okay,
So I said, no, we need to know more.
Oh, I like
we
him.
need
He
to know
was
more.
smooth.
Yeah.
His interview reminds me of Chris Big Dog. Remember
Oh,
Big
yes,
Dog?
I do.
Who I really enjoyed that interview.
Those
that was
guys
another,
that been through it.
Yes,
You know what
yes.
I'm saying?
And when he
Yeah.
said that Mr. Dyson used to play Western music, remember?
Mm-hmm,
And so Big Dog spoke about, the lady who was
That's
from the
right.
orchestra.
That's
And he
right.
was like, I'm a hood kid. What are you doing playing this type of music? And
Exposure.
yes.
Exposure.
So I truly enjoyed that interview.
Listen, we might have to bring Sandra up here.
Oh, that's the next plan.
Yeah.
That will be the next plan. That will be the next plan. Listen, we got an amazing show for you next week. Thank you guys for tuning in, and do
Thank
us one
you.
great big favor. Please share this interview. Please hit the share button and share it with your friends. Also, click on the subscribe button as we continue to grow, and check us out, okay?
Some thumbs up.
Absolutely. Give
Happy
us some thumbs up.
Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the food. On behalf of Jazzy Conversations, I'm Teef.
And I'm Gigi.
Have a great night, guys. Take care.